Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, May 24th. It is 6:21 right now. Market's going to open in about 9 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. All right. One last thing. And it looks like we're good. So let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. All right, perfect. Looks like we are good to go. So let me pull up the charts over here and I'll start marking up liquidity on the daily chart. Going down to the 4 hour. Down to the 2 hour. Down to the 1 hour. Down to the 30 minute. Down to the 15. Down to the 10. And it looks like we're good to go. All right, so back to the 1 minute over here. So looking at current price, we have the closest level of liquidity above at 39,244. And we have the closest level below at 39,167. Those are the two closest levels of liquidity to current price. Looking over here at our clean chart, I'm going to mark up 6:30. Mark up 8 o'clock. I'm going to go to the 4 hour time frame. Identify structure up here. Identify structure down here. Go down to the 1 hour time frame. Identify structure right there. Structure right there. And structure down here. One more down there. All right, so it looks like we're good to go for the most part. With that said, going back down to the 1 minute time frame. So there's no structure that's really very close. There's a support right here, which is the 4 hour support. We'll see price comes down to this point. The ATR is currently at 9 right now. So it's not super slow, but it's also not super fast. So it's just pretty much average for pre-market. We'll see what happens here when the market opens up in a few moments. So with that said, we have that marked up. Going over here to our main chart, I believe there was news at 5:30. And there's news at 7 o'clock. So 5:30, 7 o'clock, low impact. 5:30 news is this big candle right here, or the big push up from down this lower area. And that looks like it's about it for right now. So we have everything marked up here, pretty much ready to go. Market's going to open up in about 4 minutes. So good morning, everybody. Today's Friday, May 24th. Happy Friday, everyone. We'll see if the market's volatile again today. Hopefully volatile enough for us to take some entries, but again, we're not going to force any entries here. Fridays tend to be basically the riskiest day of the week for us for the most part. No FOMO today, of course. Just going to stay consistent with our analysis and mainly look for these momentum divergence type entries. Hey, Anis, how's it going? Welcome back. Yeah, if you guys remember Anis, he was, he basically helped me start up K2. So Anis is back here trading with us this morning. It's always good to see a lot of old faces. We haven't, people come and go, people take breaks and people return. So it's always good to see you guys back here in the community after, it's been like, 2 years now, Anis, maybe more. So, all right, let's see who's here so far. Morning, Sadie, morning, Kamal, morning, Daniel, morning, everybody. Looks like we're ready to go. So market is opening up in about 3 minutes, guys. When the market opens up, we'll see what we'll be looking for. Right now, currently, looks like the trend is currently bearish. It's not super established yet, but you can see over here from the pivots, prices below, the pivots are angling down. They're starting to fan out, but they have not confirmed yet. All right, guys, looks like people are still making their way in right now. Rashid is asking, where is liquidity? Liquidity is right here. So price is currently in between. The first level above is at 39,244, and the closest level below is at 39,167. ATR is currently at 10 right now, so this will probably pick up in a little bit. And we'll see where this ends up going. Hey, y'all, morning. Aaron's right there too, Honest. See Aaron, he's AB trades. So guys, looking over here at the news for today. News at 7, it's low impact. We had news over here at 5:30, kind of push price around a little bit. Market is about to open up in about a minute. Yeah, like Nick said, might push up and come back down for divergence. Looking over here at retail sentiment, guys, it's pretty much flipped back to neutral. So with it being back to neutral over here, there's not really much of a bias with regard to retail sentiment. So guys, market is opening up in about a second. Market is now open. So I'm going to mark up opening price right here. Blue line, of course. All right. Let's take these off here. So it looks like price is still in between right here. It's starting to climb back up. So price is currently bouncing off these off the sessions right there. Broke right above it, but it's still bouncing off. So let's see if price has any luck breaking past it there. There's not really much sentiment. So sentiment's pretty much neutral right now. It's 56% short. This indicates that 56% of retail traders are currently selling right now. It's not really much one-sided, so you don't really want to be on one side or the other. Either way is going to be fine. Looking over here at the fundamentals. Fundamentals are currently up 69 points, so they're slightly bullish. Looking over here at breaking news. So breaking news, the stocks rise slightly as Dow looks to recover from the worst session since March 2023. With that said, price might come back down after it kind of pushes up here a little bit. There's no trend confirmation here yet, but once we do, we'll be able to start looking for some entries here. So price is pushing up. We'll see if it fakes out and comes back down. I'm thinking the same situation that's been pretty much pushing through for the past couple of days is, whipsaw up, then correction back down, establish the support and resistance, and then from there, it will start to consolidate a range until it breaks out into a new area. So it's been doing that for a while, pretty much every day this week. And we'll see if that holds. So right here, we currently have a higher high. I mean, there's a bunch of higher highs here. So went from higher high to new higher high, lower low to lower low right there, due to the spikes of these big wicks. Here's our clean chart. Once we have those zones established, I'll mark them up as the support and resistance. But right now, it looks like price is still going to be pushing around. So if price continues to climb, looks like we might have a bullish trend here. It's not confirmed yet, but if it continues to climb up higher. So you can see down here, the pivots are starting to fan out. This is starting to indicate that we're going into a bullish trend. But again, if it doesn't hold and it comes back down, then it's just going to establish a consolidation range. So it's got to sit tight, wait for this here to actually establish the zones. That's what it looks like, what's happening here. So what I'm looking for here next is I'm looking for a low to establish. We already have a higher high right here. So if we have a new low that establishes, I'll mark this up as a resistance. And then, well, this is already the support. So I'll mark this up as support right now. Price is pushing up to the liquidity zone right here. Didn't actually hit it, but got a bit close. So here is our 1 minute support level. It's a really big support level down there. And the 1 minute resistance level right here as well. All right, so now that I've cleaned it up here a little bit, you guys can kind of see where price is moving. It's kind of where it's at right now. So I was trying to never mind, I'll just take that off. I was trying to draw up on opening price right here, but you can't really see it. It's kind of blocked off. But anyways, here's the consolidation range. You can see how price is pretty much whipsawing back and forth from here. Just wait for price to break out of this area, continue climbing. Once we have that, we can probably start looking for some entries here. There's currently a breakout V3. Actually, no, I take that back. Not breakout V3. There's a PRV that was attempting to set up here, but the trend just shifted right here. So I'm going to wait for it to actually. So the trend shifted right here. We have the first rejection candle right there. We have two space consolidation candles. So if this here swings back down and bounces off the pivot, that's going to be the PRV entry for anybody who's looking to take that. So I'm going to zoom in over here a little bit. It's a little hard to see, but you can see that we had the first rejection right here. Space consolidation candles for these two. So if it comes back down and bounces off the pivot, that's going to be the PRV entry here for anybody who's looking to take that. The liquidity here is now currently running in profit. Looks like it's about to hit TP. Mark that up right there. I'm not taking that trade. I'm just marking it up for you guys for visualizational purposes. Yeah, I don't really take the liquidity as much. I'm looking for one thing, which is the momentum divergence. So there could be a possible momentum divergence here. As you guys can see, we have the buy signal. We have price push up right here. We're looking for that retracement. Once it retraces back down, we can look for the continuation back up. So we're looking for the same thing here. It's going to be in confluence with the PRB that hasn't set up yet. So I'm looking for price to pull back a little bit, come back down, retrace, then continue back up. That's basically the pattern that I'm looking for here. So it looks like liquidity hit full TP. If you guys caught that, nice work. If you guys didn't, it's completely fine. So there's a lot of things here that are pretty much lining up with what we were waiting for here for a buy. So we have the MDV2 right here that we talked about yesterday. This is setting up for a buy as well. So price pushes up, retraces down, comes back up. That's going to be an MDV2. On top of that, we'll have the momentum divergence right here that we're looking for as well. And on top of that, we'll have the PRB. So I think a buy here would be pretty good because a lot of entries here will kind of line up with the same direction. So nice work to you guys here who caught the liquidity, blasted right through, full TP right there. Looks like Nick got it, Rashida got it, Kenneth got it, Sadie got it. Nice work, guys. So again, I'm waiting for that retracement right here. Once I get that retracement, I'll be looking for possible opportunity for entry. Don't have it yet, but that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, Gyal said he's liking the ATR. The ATR is looking pretty good right now. It's currently at 18, so we're having some volatility here. This is pretty much normal volatility for the day, kind of like yesterday. Anything around 15 is pretty solid. If it goes past 20, 22, then you might want to be worried about the high volatility there. It might be a little too high. All right. No retracement yet, no PRB. So price is climbing up. We have some breaking news over here from CNBC. It says UN's top court orders Israel to halt military offensive in Rafah. Okay, so that's going to happen right there behind the scenes, which you guys can see. All right, Rashida's all done for the week. She's going to see us back on Tuesday. Definitely, Rashida. We'll see you back here then. It's great work. I'll see you back here on Tuesday. Guys, just a reminder, Monday is Memorial Day. It's a holiday here in the US, so markets will be closed. Just a heads up in case you guys forgot, because I forgot myself. I didn't realize that until Rashida mentioned Tuesday. Yeah, that's probably why the market is moving kind of weird this week. As you guys know, whenever there's a holiday, the week before and the week of is a little bit tricky. All right, so we're getting the retracement right here for the momentum divergence, looking pretty nice. So we got the retracement right there. That's exactly what we were looking for. If price comes back down and rejects off one of the pivots here, this is going to be the PRB entry. And if this here swings back up and we get a bullish divergence, this could be a MDV2. If we get a sell signal, though, this is going to reset the process, so we're not going to have any entries here available. But if the sell signal doesn't close and it swings back up, we'll have opportunity here to take the possible momentum divergence of price to swing back up from here. We got 20 seconds left. Just gotta watch this candle, see if it closes with the sell signal. If not, then we might have opportunity here to take a buy. But it swings back up. All right, so no sell signal right there. Didn't actually close. So we'll be looking for this to, obviously to swing back up. So we're just hoping that there's no sell signal here and it comes back up. Because if that's the case, we could have a possible momentum divergence setting up here. But if the sell signal comes up, that's completely fine. It's going to confirm the retracement. And then we'll just have to wait for the next buy signal to start looking for another entry for a buy there. But if not, better case scenario is if the sell signal doesn't close and we just have this opportunity for it to swing back up for correction. All right, so we got no sell signal yet. So I'm just waiting for this here to swing back up so that we can get the momentum divergence. Akil's asking, is that a valid entry for the pivot cross over at open? Which strategy are you talking about, Akil? Are you talking about the MDV2? So it's still setting up right here. I have it marked up. It hasn't came up since the only break and close past the whole number was right here. So there's nothing that happened over here on open. The market open here over here at 6:30. It didn't break structure. This is the only structure that's broken. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for the divergence to swing back up above the price structure. So if this here swings back up, you can see here I drew it already. If it swings back up and we have a momentum divergence past the whole number here, then that would be an example of the entry, but it hasn't come up yet. That's kind of what we're waiting for. All right, so we're starting to get a correction back down. This is completely fine. If we get the sell signal there, that's fine. If we don't, then we'll just continue to wait for this here to keep pushing up higher. Nice, congrats, Nick. Nick just passed another 150K count off the last high low. So nice work, Nick. I know you've been grinding out on that one, so solid work on getting that one passed. All right, so we're kind of just waiting for price here to either consolidate or correct back up. At this point right here. Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah. So Madhu's talking about the other strategy. That was something completely different. So you're talking about this one over here. So they're actually, well, I didn't see a cross here. So the one that Madhu's referring to, yeah, the trend here confirmed, but there was no cross in the pivots. So I don't think there's anything here yet. So if these here cross below and then cross back above, then yeah, possibly, but they haven't crossed yet. So nothing there yet with regard to that strategy that Madhu is referring to. It's not an actual strategy that like I've published or taught anybody, but it's like something that a lot of people look at. It's something that Natasha trades actually. She's one of the people who I know for sure trades it because she confirmed it yesterday when we were talking about it. But yeah, no setup yet. The trend over here confirmed and there hasn't been any crossover since. So yeah, thanks Madhu for confirming that. Yeah, is that the one you're referring to, Akil? Because if that's the case, then yeah, those are two totally different strategies. Okay, perfect. Yeah. No, it works really well. I mean, if you guys want to trade that way, it works really well. We have a buy signal. I'll probably be looking for that too. It's another good confluence to look for, right? We have a buy signal here, bullish trend. Look for the crossover and then swing back up. And that could be a possible opportunity for entry. Yeah, because the trend here wasn't really shifting very much. I mean, it wasn't really smooth, so you can't really see any here. But yeah, I mean, if that's the case, I'll probably look for that too. Maybe that'll be another one because the thing with that strategy is that it kind of lines up with momentum divergence, right? And that's the type of market that we're currently in. So we're currently in the type of market where, the best types of entries to look for would be momentum divergences. Same with, with the pivots over here as well. Yeah, Natasha said it lines up with the divergence, definitely. So if that's the case, maybe maybe I'll back test it a little bit. If it looks good, then we'll I guess we could call it something like a pivot continuation or a pivots V2. There's a V2 for like everything now. So I mean, it could whichever one sounds better, pivots continuation or pivots V2. They both are valid because that's kind of what's happening here. We have the pivots here indicating the bullish trend. We have the momentum. When the crossover happens, it's a retracement, and then it crosses back up. That's a continuation, right? So both of the names were pivots continuation or pivots V2. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So Natasha calls it a crossover scalp. That works too. I just try to keep it in line with the indicator so everybody knows which indicators to use, which they all work. It is a crossover, so yeah, that could work. But since it's a pivots indicator, I try to tie it in with pivot something or pivots crossover too. That works too. I mean, there's so many different names we can use. But yeah, again, we'll keep looking at that because if that's the case, that'll probably work. We'll look for it right here again. It looks like it might be setting up. But the sell signal has been pending for like I think 5-10 minutes now. I mean, these pivots are pretty strong. If you guys follow the pivots, they're pretty accurate because they follow price. The okay, so the sell signal here is attempting to close here again. I mean, at this point, I'm like whatever if it closes because it's been pending for so long. But if it doesn't close, that's fine too. Yeah, again, right here, it looks like it might not even close again. It seems like the pivots crossover or the pivots V2 is it acts quicker than the divergence. So I think the crossover will probably happen before the divergence. So it could be a good indicator of like the divergence that's likely to happen. So the crossover happened right there, Natasha. I don't know if you're looking for it to swing back up, but I mean, yeah, that could be a good indication of a correction back up. Yeah, Madhu said I took a look at it regardless of trend. Honestly, if you confirm that the pivots cross was strong and clear, it hits for at least 10 points majority of the time. Nice. So if that's the case, I mean, you can probably do like a one-to-one because it usually, it breaks out. And if you so I'm assuming you did it with the momentum too, right, Madhu? So you kind of use the momentum as a catalyst and then you look for the crossover after that. Or are you just looking at the crossover in general, like just the crossover by itself? Because there's so many ways to apply it. Like for me personally, okay, gotcha. So he just looked for just the cross. So yeah, like you said, this one over here pretty much pushed for at least 10 points right there. Nice. So Natasha actually caught that one right there. She kind of just goes standalone as well, based off it. It just has to be like very clear. Yeah, this one it looked like it would have been good. It's just a little tricky because of the sessions right there. So looks like I got work to do over the weekend. I'll be looking at this. I'll be back testing this to see if it's something that we can incorporate because this is the type of market that we typically want to be trading in, right? We want to be trading in a market where, or we want to be trading the type of strategies that work in this type of market. This market right now is more of a momentum-based market. You kind of have to catch the momentum swings because catching high lows, catching breaking structures, they typically don't work as well as they normally would for like multiple reasons, of course. So price broke below structure here now, broke below structure here now. So we're no longer looking for the buys at this point. Now it looks like it might be looking for some sells. So we have the break and close below here, retracement, continuation. So the same pattern that we were looking for up here, we're now looking for it down here. Price is reaching its way down to the lower level of liquidity here. So, like I said earlier, guys, we had some people that were like complaining about strategies, how we keep like how style changes. The style doesn't change, the strategies do change slightly. I mean, it wasn't even someone that was in the group, it was someone that was just in the YouTube stream complaining because I don't know, something to complain about, right? But the thing that you guys have to understand that the market, you have to adapt with the market. This market here isn't something that we really encountered very recently. This type of market's been going sideways like this for the past 3 months, and it's not been the same market that it's been over the past years. In the past summer, it is typically Sorry, not summer, spring. Spring is typically a trending market. This year, spring was not a trending market. It was more of a consolidating, ranging market. And you have to adapt with the with whatever market conditions give you, right? So we have a specific trading style. Our trading style is trend following, right? We trend follow. We trend follow and we enter entries based off momentum. Momentum can be based off multiple different catalysts, right? It can be based off these crossovers, it can be based off the momentum signal, it can be based off the trend, it can be based off a lot of things here. So what we do is we make small adjustments to the strategies that we're already applying to conform with the current market conditions. So, we have to adapt with the market. You can't just stick to one thing. If you're only trading support and resistance, if you're only trading supply and demand, there's going to be long periods where your strategy just doesn't work. With us here, the good thing about momentum trading and trend trading is that you can make small little changes to whatever strategy you're applying, like, small different entry points. And that can make all the difference between sitting stale and finding different opportunities with the same concepts. Because realistically, we're still trading in the direction of the trend and we're still trading off momentum. There's just different entry points. Sometimes we look for momentum, sometimes we look for divergence, sometimes we look for the crossovers. They're all the same thing. It's just you're looking for different entry points with the same type of strategy and trading style. So you just got to keep that in mind, guys. There's always going to be trolls that are going to have things to say. And I've been doing this for a long time, so I've dealt with it. It's not like a new thing for me. So, with the trolls, we'll combat that by showing profits. That's really what it is. You can't argue with profits. You can't argue with results and with profits, right? So just keep that in mind, guys. Nice work, William. So William said, yeah, he's going to show you his profits. William did pretty good right here. He has about 20 accounts, locked at 120 for the day per account. So, about 2,000 for the day. Nice work, William. Great profits right there. And we'll continue to look for some more opportunities here. So we currently have a bearish trend that's starting to establish here. Once we have this bearish trend, we will be looking for the next opportunity for entry. Price is currently bouncing off news price right here. So we've got price kind of just sitting right here right now. Yeah, Albert said news in 7 minutes. That's correct. There's news at 7 o'clock over here. It is low impact news though. So the news at 7 o'clock is Michigan consumer expectations. Actually, there's a high impact news there. It's Michigan consumer sentiment. It's forecasted to be negative. So there's some high impact news at 7. I'm going to hold off before taking any entries. So we're about 5 minutes till news. I'm going to hold off for a little bit, wait for this here to stabilize a bit. And then I will be looking for opportunity here for entry. But yeah, I'm a little curious with the pivots now that Madhu has mentioned that he kind of just did it as is with just pivots 1 and 2. And yeah, no, if it's a clear cross, it looks like it does go over for at least, 10 points. I mean, I wouldn't look at pre-market, of course, but you can see over here. But then again, so if you do that and you use if you use momentum as your catalyst, so for example, here we have a buy signal, right? And then the candles here cross, I think it gives you a better confluence because you don't want to take, well, I guess it kind of depends. If you want to take entries like that, you can, but I don't know what happened here. Let me take this off. So if you take entries like that, if you're doing like a 1-to-1, I think it would be valid. It would be okay to take something like that because you kind of just eat the risk, right? Or you could even do a 10 to 15. 10, 15 or 10, 20, even that. But yeah, no, it's something that I'll look into over the weekend if you guys want to back test it yourself. And it's a very simple strategy to follow. I guess you can go bare bones first, just with the pivots, and then from there you can add on other confluences. But I think using momentum is going to be a big. Yeah, so Akil said, I back tested it with the trend meter and momentum signal, a lot less entries, but they all hit. Nice. Yeah. So for me personally, I would prefer that, right? More entries or less entries, higher win rate. Um, unless there's a way for you to kind of minimize the risk, because it's going to be tough to like, especially here on open, if the risk over there is what's it called? If the risk is like you can't do like a negative versus forward if it's too risky. But if you can make it tighter where it's like a 1-to-1 or even a 1-to-2, then it could possibly work. Let's see, JDib said it's just a simple moving average cross strategy. Well, put your moving averages on the chart, and then you'll see that they don't line up with the pivots. We've had this explanation like I don't know, maybe like 50 times now. The pivots are not moving averages. If you add the moving averages to your chart, you can go ahead and add them right now, Jay. Add them to your chart and then tell me if they line up. They're not going to line up. I could even put them here on my chart too, right? I mean, you guys can do it. Go ahead. You guys can go ahead and try it. And and then when you start losing trades, trying to do the same thing, um, yeah, come back with whatever you wanted to do. So like for example, right here, see if you turn off the pivots, the moving averages, they're slower than the pivots. They don't move with the pivots because the pivots aren't based off moving averages. They're based off different parameters. That's why that's why I had to create my own indicator. If they were the same thing, then they would have I mean they look like moving averages because they're aligned. But look at this. See how my lines are very far apart from the moving averages? It's because the parameters and the code is different. So, I mean, if you want to play with it, go ahead and feel free, guys. I know it looks like a moving average crossover, but it's not. Um, yeah, exactly. CJ said we had the moving average combo 1,000 times, but it is what it is, right? You can put the EMA on there, Jay. Go ahead and do it if you want to do that. I'm not going to argue with Jay because Jay always has something dumb to say, honestly. So, but yeah, I feel like whenever Jay says something, it's just a back and forth. That goes nowhere. It's like talking with a brick wall. Because we talked about, I think you said something earlier this week too, Jay. And it is fine. You're entitled to your own opinion, but whatever you want to consider it, consider it. But I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. There's like certain people in the group that if they say something, it's just you just gotta ignore them because they got something to say that just doesn't make it doesn't bring any value to the conversation, right? It's just someone trying to start some sort of side convo that's irrelevant from what we're talking about here. But anyways, we have news over here at 7 o'clock. And once this happens right here, I'll start looking for some entries. I'm still looking for the momentum divergence. Um, other than that, we will continue to look for the next opportunity here. But we're currently right now, the retracement's happening. So the divergence looks like it can start setting up. The only problem here is that we do have news at 7 o'clock. I'm going to see how okay, so that's what I was talking about. I'm going to see how the news react or how price reacts to the news right here. And I'm glad that the news happened right at the, okay, so we got this right here. So I was waiting to see how the news reacted to, or the price reacted to the news. And right here, it did react super heavy. The news was positive. So it reacted how it was supposed to. And we will, all right, so if this shifts back up, then that's fine. Let's start looking for some buys. But we want to see how the market reacts to it after. So this is the actual initial news candle. But after this, we're going to see how this here goes after it. We just got to give it some time. So typically I don't trade 5 minutes before news or 5 minutes after because a lot of stuff can happen between now and then. So like now that we have this big candle right here, one of two things are going to happen. Price is either going to correct back down and fill this candle, or it's going to continue climbing from here, right? One of two things that will likely happen right here. But there's no telling what exactly is going to happen. If this becomes the case and the trend starts to shift back, then that's completely fine. If price corrects back down and pulls back below this area, then that's fine too. We can look for the possible momentum divergence. The thing with the momentum divergence here is that things move at different speeds, right? The divergence here moves really slow. It doesn't typically cross over as much. The crossovers that you guys were talking about over here. The thing that's risky about this is the fact that it crosses over a lot. A lot in comparison to like other things that you guys can look for. That's why I would use multiple confluences here to identify certain things. All right, so we have price coming back down over here. So if price comes back down, I'm going to be looking for that momentum divergence. Something there. All right, so we got the cross back below right here, guys. But I was waiting to see if this candle could close red. So if the candle doesn't close red, I'm not going to take this as a momentum divergence. I mean, it is crossing right here, but I would want the candle to close red. So I'm looking at this as a momentum divergence. But again, the candle will have to close red, and it can be too close to the news price down here. We have about 30 seconds left on this candle, so we got some time. But it's got to be a for sure red candle. And on top of that, it's got to it's not going to close red. It's not there. Actually, you're right, Daniel. I think we do need the. Let me see what my requirements here. I don't even remember if we needed that. Typically, we already have a sell signal there. Where's the criteria for that? Yeah, you would need momentum. It's the first requirement. So you're right, Daniel. I thought there was a sell signal here, but I just realized when I look back, there's a buy signal right there. So it's not actually, it doesn't meet criteria. So the good thing about this is that once we do get the sell signal, it'll confirm that we're already in a bearish divergence. So we'll just look for another retracement. Thanks, Daniel, for the heads up on that. All right, so we're back to our regular market conditions. I was hoping that the market would stay volatile because of the movement, but now that we've kind of the movement's done, this is back to how the market's been moving for the whole week. The volatility is super low, not really too much here going on. Um, yeah, I mean, there's not too much here to take right now until I'm looking for the trend here to shift. Once the trend here shifts, then we could possibly start looking for this here to swing back up. But again, this is just going to be a sideways market for now. I was hoping with the high volatility, it's still moved directional, but the volatility looks like it's going to start dying down. So we'll see what happens here in the next few moments. Price is stuck at the sessions, like CJ just mentioned. You can see this purple line right here. This is where price kind of just gets stuck to. So I'm looking for price to break above, start looking for some buys for price, or for price to break below and start looking for some sells. The only problem here is that we got a bunch of red flags. So we got the news price right here. And I would need price to kind of just break through this area so that we can start looking for a continuation to the downside. But right now, there's just nothing for us here to really take or mess with. All right, so it looks like we might be back into a bearish trend. But again, like I said, we need to have some sort of direction here. We have a sell signal right here. We got a sell signal, bearish divergence. So in order for us to have any opportunity here for entry, either we have price climb down from where it's currently at, or another thing that can happen here is price might just consolidate around this area a little bit and then come back down. So if we're looking for a sell, these are the two patterns that we're looking for. It's kind of like a head and shoulders right here pattern for price to retrace up, or we're looking for price to come down and provide a continuation, maybe some sort of M pattern here. Honest said, would you believe, bro, I turned it into a scalper? Yeah, I would never believe that in a million years in Honest. Yeah, Honest was, I mean, he traded on the higher time frames back then. I've always been a scalper from the beginning, so yeah, a lot of people don't like scalping, but for me personally, I think scalping is probably one of the best ways to trade because it prevents you from getting caught in a lot of manipulation. As long as you avoid news price, like if you guys know where news is at, this I mean this trading style scalping is probably the best one because you don't really get caught in manipulation. Like if you hold on to a position for too long, for like a couple minutes, a couple hours, etc., odds are you're gonna get manipulated out because there's so many news events throughout the day. But when you scalp, you're usually in for a few seconds, few minutes, etc. And typically that's, it gives you that window of opportunity to get in and out of the position as quickly as possible. Yeah, no, I mean, I can see that. Honest, it seems like everybody's a scalper now, right? Everybody hated on scalping back then, and now everybody's a scalper. Thing is, I've been doing scalping for years, so it's like it's nothing new to me. People are barely learning how to scalp, but scalping is like it's always been the bread and butter for me. All right, guys. So right now, don't really have anything here yet. It's still consolidating sideways. Let me see if there's new structure here for me to mark up. So there's more structure up here, and there's structure down here. Guys, I've been so one thing as well that I've kind of heard from a couple of people, a lot of people who are getting under review with their Apex payouts is because they're doing negative average cost, what it's called, dollar cost averaging. So they're doing negative DCA. You guys can't do negative DCA, right? And that goes back to there's a guy in the group who who I was telling you who tried to mimic my pivots here. Like there's a guy in the group who just kept on accounts. Sisuk here, Sisuk's not here. He's like Sisuk's mentee. This guy at Sisuk was mentoring that just kept blowing accounts and buying accounts. Got to a point where his wife was about to divorce him, and because he just kept blowing money, right? So he's still trading now, and I heard from him recently. He asked me like, "Hey, why do you think my my payout got under review?" And I told him to show me the trades he was taking, and he was doing negative DCA. So if you guys know what negative DCA is, basically if you know that price is going to be bullish, like for example, we have a bullish bias here, right? And say for example, you take a buy entry, like right here when price dips, right? Or when price goes up and it dips a little bit, you take a buy entry like right here. And then say price is still going negative right here. And then he just keeps buying because he's praying that price is going to swing back up. So price comes back down a little bit lower, and then he just keeps buying in a losing trade. This is negative DCA. You can't do this in Apex. That's the new rule that they introduced. You can't keep buying the dip. Like if you're buying the dip and your trade keeps losing, that's considered negative DCA. So you can't do that because you're supposed to be scalping. Like Apex is meant for scalping. So that's why a lot of people are switching to scalping. If you're doing long-term investment trades, and yeah, that makes sense. You're dollar cost averaging into a losing trade, but you can't do that on Apex. So a lot of people have been reaching out to me and they're like, "Hey, why do you think Apex is reviewing my trades?" And I'm like, "It's because you're negative dollar cost averaging. That's the whole rule that they just implemented." So they have a risk to reward that's required now. You can't take more than a 3-to-1. And then on top of that, you can't negative dollar cost average it. You can buy into winning position. Like you can buy right here and it pushes up and it dips. And then you buy again right there. And then it pushes up and it dips. And then you buy again right there. That's okay. They're okay with that. They just don't like it when people are gambling, basically buying into a losing trade. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys are trading that way, because Apex may not be for you if that's the case, because they're not allowing that anymore. There's too many people who are blowing accounts doing that. Like what happens is people will do this, they'll get funded. And then once they get funded, they continue to trade that way, hoping that they'll get lucky again for like these big winners. And then they end up blowing accounts, and it's like affecting Apex because they're copying people's trades. So you can only imagine, Apex is like going through the roof, like they're tripping out because people are entering a trade and then they just keep buying the dip. Sometimes the dip doesn't come back, the dip just keeps dipping. And then if they're copying the trades, there goes their account. So just keep it in mind, guys. I just want to give you guys a heads up because I know some of you guys do trade that way. And it's frowned upon in Apex. So yeah, I think they're not in our group, but they're just people that know me and they've been in our group before that reached out. So everybody who's in the group so far, I think everybody's doing fine. There's maybe 1 or 2 people here who are getting flagged on their payouts because they trade that way, but it's resolvable. Like you can show them that you're not doing something random, and they'll most likely let you continue. As long as you have some sort of strategy behind it. You can't just keep gambling into a trade. So just want to make that clear for a lot of people here who are kind of worried about the new rules. There's only 2 new rules that came out. You can't have a crazy risk reward, and then you can't dollar cost average it negative. It's not going to affect us because we don't trade that way. So, all right, we have a sell signal over here. Price is now coming back down further. What I'm looking for from this point is I'm looking for price to kind of push below, retrace, continue down lower from here. Yeah, Drew said definitely got to push away from the opening price. Nice. William took a gold trade for 10 points, BB3 continuation, and he locked in some pretty good profit. Nice work, William. Okay, so there's no divergence here. As you guys can see, price is just consolidating here. The ATR is going down. So this is the consolidation range zone right here. And you can see that the ATR is dropping down a bit. It's currently at 17, now at 18. It's a little low. Here are some team profits for the day. So Drew over here is done trading. He locked in 13,110. That's where Drew all wins. He took one trade here. Went straight to his TP. For the week so far, he's up pretty heavy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So Drew here has 12 accounts. He locked in 6,000 times 12. Drew's currently up 72,000 for the week. Nice work, Drew. So great profits right there for Drew. If you guys have more profits to post up, feel free to send them in. Otherwise, we'll keep looking for some opportunities here. 7:17 right now, so we still have some time. All right, so we're still looking for the sell here, guys. Yeah, so just looking at that crossover setup that you guys were talking about earlier, let's see. So if you were just looking at the crossover, this over here, it looks like it would have, so it crossed up. I mean, it looks like it would have hit if you do 1020. So that first one right there would have hit. And then it crossed over again below right here. It's like, it looks like it would have lost. It's just kind of tricky. So like I said with the crossover, you kind of want to use some sort of confluence because it's, or you definitely want to stay away from, I think the thing with the crossover is you want to stay away when the candles are in the pivots over here. Because when the candles are away from the pivots, they actually work out pretty well. But when they're kind of jumbled up right here in this little area, that's typically where you want to avoid it because price goes sideways at this point. Unless you have a really wide stop loss, you're gonna get caught in some price spikes. Because like for example, over here, like if you have a 1030, you would have been perfectly fine. You would have survived it, but you would have to have a really wide stop loss for you to survive a move like that. Let's see. Yeah, Kevin said momentum signals are really close. That's another thing too. So if you guys see momentum signals, a bunch of them right next to each other, and we've noticed this before in the past, if the momentum signals keep coming up, that's probably a sign to stay out of the market for a little bit because it shows you that there's no direction of momentum, right? Momentum comes down, comes up, comes down. That's not how momentum is supposed to work. You're supposed to have momentum in one direction and then in the opposite direction and then a correction. But for this right here, it's like swinging back and forth so fast that it's kind of pointless to squeeze any trades in from there. So thanks, Kevin, for mentioning that. I know we've seen that before in the past. It's still something to look at and be careful for. CJ said, I really hope it breaks away from the session soon. I agree. Because it's still sitting around this area. I think this whole area here, I need price to break away from it, right? To break below. Because it's just going to keep bouncing and being stuck around this area. One thing that I'm probably going to be looking for here is a momentum divergence, because if it rejects off the pivots right here, there may be a divergence to the downside. As you can see over here, it's starting to set up. So we'll see if it keeps rejecting off the pivots here and if it comes back down harder, because if that's the case, it's probably going to be a correction back to the downside right here to maybe retest the news price. That's only if a buy signal doesn't come up. Yeah, exactly. Drew said it's he's just learning from bad habits and not knowing when to stay out because he got greedy, which is the typical case too. Like even for myself, right? You guys have seen me trade before. Every time I lose a trade, it's usually because of greed and FOMO. That's usually the case. All the losses I've had for this year, for the most part, were based off FOMO. It's like you really want to take a trade, you kind of go against your rules, and you take something that's not really there. right? Everybody kind of has the same situation. It's like greed, FOMO, revenge trading. Revenge trading follows with greed. FOMO follows with greed. Over trading follows with greed. Everything comes back to greed. You guys got to keep that in mind. You can be a little greedy, but you gotta know the fine line between crossing, into the bad greed into the good greed. Because sometimes you need to be greedy. Because if you're not greedy enough, then you're just gonna be too scared to take any entries. But if you're too greedy, then you're gonna take entries that are not really there. Like for example, for me, I'm probably like least greedy. I should be a little more greedy. Like you guys always see that with the trades here. We see a bunch of trades come up and you're like, oh, you should take like every entry that you identify. But then for me, I'm very conservative. I'm not very greedy. So I miss out on like for example, the liquidity pushes over here, right? The liquidity pushes came up. I could have taken these entries, but I'm not greedy enough to take these. I'm okay with what I'm looking for here, the momentum divergence. So yeah, you just need to find a good line between greed and being conservative. But you don't want to be too far on one side. If you're too conservative, you're never going to take any trades. If you're too greedy, you're going to take too many trades, and you're just going to end up in limbo. Yeah, Drew said it worked out with this huge sale and the sale on the lifetime fee. Yeah, no, I agree. Did work out, right? All right, so looking at this down here, let me see if there was if there was an opportunity that came up here for the so there's actually an entry right now. Let me see. So it shifted right here, shifted above. No, it's just too tricky. I was looking for the breaking close past the whole numbers right here. The only problem is that price keeps going back and forth. So I can't even tell if we're looking here for a buy or if we're looking for a sell. Typically, you want price to break above the whole number and just climb, or break below the whole number and continue to climb. So I'm looking at this here, and there's actually entries in both directions. There's a buy signal here, price broke below, swing back above right here. This could be a possible entry for a buy, or this could be a possible entry for a buy. And there could be another possible entry here for a sell. So for the MDV2, I think there has to be more criteria that needs to be added to this, because you guys can see here when something like this happens and it just kind of sits in between, you're kind of in limbo because you can take trades in either direction. If you're taking the 50-point move, like this trade here was still technically running, price broke above it. Actually, the break above was right here. So it was like after this green candle right here, and it would be a 50-50. So this trade here would still technically be running right now. But again, I don't like those types of entries because you have to hold on to them for forever. It's such a big move, 50 points. And then also those entries don't come up at the same time every day. They kind of come up throughout the day. So you have to be on the chart like literally the entire session if it doesn't come up right in the beginning. But anyways, guys, there's no movement here. As you guys can see, the ATR is currently back to 16. So this is confirming that we're in a consolidating market right now. We're not really consolidating, but we're in a ranging market right now. The range here is pretty obvious. You guys can see where price is moving. It's moving between the opening price, sorry, not the opening price, the sessions up here and the news price down below. So there's not too much going on here. I mean, if you guys want me to draw a structure to make it a little more clear, this is pretty much where price is going back and forth. There is nothing here to work with. Here's our clean chart. You guys can see it here a little better. So you guys can see that this area is the resistance. This is the support. And this in the middle is the consolidation zone. So price is consolidating within the range right now. The range is this whole area. But right now, specifically, price is just consolidating down the middle right here. I was really hoping we'd be able to catch at least one entry today. I mean, we probably will. It's probably going to take some time until we do, but I was hoping we'd be able to catch at least one entry today before we get off earlier in the session so that we can kind of relax like later into the session. But unfortunately, right now, the volatility is just not there. Price is stuck in this trap between this area. So what I'm looking for again here is I'm looking for price to break above the sessions so that we can look for some entries up here or in the opposite, if price breaks below. At this point, I'm looking for the correction back up. I think this week's going to close bullish because yesterday was such a bad day in the market. If you guys remember pretty much, I don't want to say the market crashed, but we had a really, really big drop yesterday and the day before that after the FOMC minutes came out on Wednesday. There's no other news here. Yeah, there's not really any news here there's no catalyst to push price around. We had the news at 7 o'clock, it was bullish. Price pushed up a little bit, came back down for the retracement. So you guys can see the big candle right here for the bullish push and the price retraced down. And I'm looking for that to correct back up and just keep climbing. So just keep that in mind, guys. Yeah, John City, I dropped about 7,000 points. It dropped a lot yesterday. Like yesterday was a big drop, so I'm expecting the market to close bullish today. It's probably not going to close back in the positive, but it's going to close back with a nice, decent correction. Not a big correction, but a decent correction for it to kind of stabilize for the rest of the month. And then it's going to move up from there, I guess. Yeah, so CJ said, what I like about our K2 fam is that we can be honest about our mistakes and help each other. Some people act like they're super experts who don't have any of those issues at all while struggling the same, if not worse. Yeah, exactly, CJ. The thing with trading, guys, is that you never really become 100%. I've been trading for over 10 years now, right? Like almost up to 12 years now. I still make mistakes. I still get FOMO. I still revenge trade. I still overtrade. I still get greedy. That's just kind of how the market is. Like the market's something that you don't necessarily grasp fully 100%. But when you do make mistakes, you're able to bounce back from it because you understood, what you did wrong. With a lot of people, they're just in denial, right? People will make mistakes and they're just in denial. They'll blame something. They'll blame me most of the time. Most of the time, they're going to blame me or they're going to blame my indicators or my strategies. But realistically, it's just a person that was trading that made all the mistakes. So that's always the case. And I'm sure you guys have been through that situation where you guys just play the blame game, right? If you guys blow an account, you're going to blame it on me for giving an analysis and you took a trade off the analysis when I said not to. Or you took a strategy that wasn't even your strategy and you haven't even tested it yet. It always, that's usually how it happens, guys. But the thing is, in order for you to get better, you have to take responsibility for it. Like even if it's not your fault, if it's you traded during news, market got manipulated, etc., something like that, your trading platform froze and you couldn't exit the trade, you just got to take responsibility for it, even when it's not your fault. It's the only way you get better at it. Yeah, John said he's FOMO traded into a trade thinking 39,400 was a good support, turned out to be a resistance. Yeah, it happens. That's the thing. Like analysis isn't always going to be 100%. Your trade psychology is not always going to be 100%, but you just got to bounce back from it. All right, so there's still no entries here, guys. You can see price has not broken out of this consolidation zone. Again, we're waiting for it to break out of this to the upside for a possible buy, or we're looking for it to break below for a possible sell. But right now, there's just nothing here for us to take. My guess is that price is going to correct back up as soon as we see price break and close past the Asia high right here for the sessions. Like once price breaks above it and then continues, I think it's going to continue to fly. But until then, we're just going to wait here for a little bit longer for that to, for that to happen. Yeah, Daniel said that's one thing that really settles your emotions as a beginner. Learning that all traders go through everything you're feeling helps to trade with people and not just to learn on your own. Yeah, 100%. I learned how to trade on my own, guys. That's the whole reason why I created this community. I created this community because I used to trade by myself. And every time I joined a group, it was always super toxic. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have been in groups like that where nobody knows what they're doing and everyone's kind of giving each other bad info about how to trade and teaching people how to trade when they don't know how to trade themselves. And then you have the mentor in that group who just doesn't have any control. Like you see people just arguing in the group all the time. Um, and then you have scammers in the group and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of what sets our group apart is that I kind of have control. You know, if people like act up in the group, we usually kick them out. Or you know, we always try to keep everything kind of civilized in the group, of course. That's why you don't really see the group going crazy. If you guys were in the Telegram a long time ago, I don't know if, yeah, Honest, you're still here, and Aaron, if you guys were in the Telegram a long time ago and we used to be in Telegram, like that group was crazy. And it was only crazy because I wasn't trading full time at the time. So we always had random people join the group and then it would just go nuts. Like the chat room would, I'd come back to my phone and I'd have like 1,000 notifications of people just arguing and people just like telling people like random stuff about trading. Everyone sharing their analysis and all their analysis is wrong. And it's just crazy. But we have a little bit more structure here. I think you were around during that time too, Natasha. It was like in the very beginning when like we had a lot of the IML people come into the group. That's when ICT started to blow up and we had people from the UK. It was just a crazy time in our Telegram chat. Kind of glad we moved away from Telegram. It took me a long time to move away from it, but yeah, nice said it sounds like the Apex Discord. Yeah, if you guys have ever been on the Apex Discord, that group is crazy too. I don't ever go in there. It's super toxic. People are just all over the place. Honestly, remember Dylan? I know. The UK guys from back then. They came from that whole scam group, remember? Yeah, there was a time like a long time ago when I used to call signals in our Telegram group. And it was crazy because we were kind of going against each other. There was this other Telegram, there was another signal provider, and he was calling signals, and his trades would lose. And then he would basically challenge us. And then whenever we would win our trades, because we had such a high win rate, he would get super pissed and he would pay people like what was it? He paid them like 20 euros to come to our group and just spam the group. So we had like people come in the group and just put a bunch of spam messages for they would just spam the group. It was just crazy. That guy ended up going to jail for scamming people. And it's funny because well he's a scammer. He's just a scammer like in general. Like he did account management, he scammed everybody. And then he did signals and he scammed everybody. But it's funny because I saw him on Instagram recently and he's scamming again. He's selling Amazon FBA courses. And then he's like scamming with with exotic car dealerships. It's crazy. He just goes from one scam to another. He made a bunch of money for scamming. I'm like curious what his name was again. What's his name? His name was Guru. Let me see. I'm gonna look him up again. Oh, there it is. And I can't find him anymore. But he's just scamming at other stuff now. It's crazy. It was this guy. Here, let me see. Yeah, I'll show you guys real quick. There's nothing going on in the charts anyways. It was this guy. If you guys remember, if you guys were part of the group a long time ago, this guy had a group with a bunch of people from the UK, and he was just scamming. He's still scamming today. It's crazy. He's still in business. I think he's still in the UK scamming people. Um, but yeah, he was like, so yeah, he scammed people out of 4 million euros, forex scam. He basically was doing a bunch of scammy stuff. If you guys were in the group before, you guys remember that. Professional scammer, exactly. Let's get back to the charts. So there's still nothing here for us here to take, guys. I'm looking for this here to break out of the range. It looks like it might attempt to break below, but again, it's having trouble getting past the loose price down here. Yeah, exactly. Nick said it's a career at this point. Yeah, career scammer. Yeah, but it's crazy. Like I don't know how people can live like that, to be a scammer and to just continue to carry on and just change your business model. Like scam from trading, then scam to selling Amazon courses, and scam to selling exotic car dealership courses, and they just keep selling courses, and it's crazy. People keep buying them. All right, so looking at this right here, guys, we currently have price going sideways around this area. I'm hoping price breaks below the news price over here, but it's not looking like it. Price is coming back up from right here. So there was a momentum divergence here that's setting up. I mean, it could still set up. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for price to push up, maybe consolidate around this area right here and then come back down. Because if it's too close to you guys can see here, it's going to be too close to the news price. I'm not going to take the entry if it's going to be cutting into the news price, because what's going to happen here is if it has to pass through it, it'll probably come down and then bounce off the news price down there. Yeah, Andrew said, I laugh when people are so committed to stuff like that, scamming. If you put your effort into something good, legit, you'd be good. Yeah, exactly. That's literally what it is, guys. I like it's crazy. Some people are so committed to like negative things. Like sometimes you'll see people in other groups and all they're doing is like Aaron. Is Aaron still here? AB. AB used to joke around in the group all the time. I was like, bro, if you put that much effort into trading, you'd be good. And look at him now. He's a trader. Um, yeah, because back then when we used to have our group, so if you guys were in K2 a long time ago, it was I was doing a lot of the actual trading and stuff, and Aaron would be like kind of be joking around in the group all day. And I'm like, bro, if you just focus on trading and stop hanging out in the chat room, you'd be a lot better. Now he focused on trading. Now he's next level. So it's always good. Anyways, guys, we have a current momentum divergence that is coming right here. The only problem is that it's at news price. So I don't think I'm going to take it, unfortunately. This is what I'm looking for, but I don't think I'm going to take it because I'm worried that it's going to bounce off news price here and I'm going to get caught in the trade. So this is the setup that we were looking for, and it looks like it's going to play through. Fuck. It looks like it's going to play through. It was just at the support, not the support, it was at the news price though, right here. So that's why I don't want to take it. Yeah. So this is the setup that we were looking for. Unfortunately, it happened right here at the news price, and you can see how price kind of gets manipulated around this area. And the same thing's happening there again. It's getting manipulated slightly. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't enter that trade because I would have just been stressing out at this point because it would have gotten close to TP and then it would have just came right back down. Yeah, Kill City didn't enter. He's going to call it a day. All right, Kill, I'll see you back here on Tuesday. So guys, just another reminder, Monday is Memorial Day holiday here in the US. Markets are closed. So there's not going to be any trading on Monday. Just a heads up in case you guys forget. I'll put something in the Discord as well so that you guys can remember. So still no entries here, guys. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we will continue to look for another opportunity here as we get closer to 8. The thing is, the ATR is super low now, so you guys can see down below. The ATR went from 20 to 18 to 15 to 16 to now 13. So you're probably going to expect just a sideways market here. The volatility is so low, you're probably not going to see too much happen here over the next couple minutes. So yeah, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll answer whatever you guys need help with. Unfortunately, the entry that we were looking for right here did not come up the way we wanted to. It's still technically running right now. So if you guys are in the position, it's still running. It's probably gonna hit TP, but let me take this off real quick. It's also retesting liquidity right there too. So this is a second touch of liquidity down below, and it looks like it just hit TP. So if you guys took the entry, this is the entry that we were looking for. Great work on catching it full TP. Unfortunately, I didn't take it. I didn't feel comfortable with this market right here as it continues to go sideways. So I just sat out on it, but that was the entry that we were looking for to come up. So yeah, unfortunately, sucks. I mean, it's just a bad timing. The entry was there, but it was just bad timing from where it closed below. If the entry was on this following candle, I would have been a little more inclined to take it, but because it was like on this specific candle and it was like right at the news price, I decided not to take it. So yeah, guys, I'm not expecting anything else to happen from here until 8 o'clock. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat right now. Otherwise, it looks like we'll probably be wrapping this up soon. We'll keep looking for something here that might come up, but for the most part, not expecting too much. The reason for that is because this here has low volatility right now. Yeah, next to the high low didn't even print and wicked off the last second. There's possibly another high low. Yeah, so this could have been a high low right there. Is that the one you were referring to, Nick? Yeah, it wicked off at like literally at the last second. Man, what a crappy week, right, for the market. The market was pretty whack on Monday. It was pretty whack on Tuesday, whack on Wednesday, Thursday, then today again. It's not super good. Yeah, Nick said he was going to take it, but the 58 seconds told him to screw off. Yeah, so this is pretty much what we were looking for today. We just didn't have the entry come up low enough. Like if the entry came up down here, I would have been more okay with taking it, but it came up right at the news price right there. So unfortunately, there's just no opportunities here. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. It's not looking like we're going to get anything from here until 8 o'clock. Reason for that is because the volatility is a little bit lower. And then on top of that, we have a bunch of the sessions down here. So, I mean, price might just get stuck down here. It might even bounce off this point. And then just range between this area here. But Fridays have been historically like not good days for us anyways. So I'm not going to risk it. I'm glad that I didn't take a trade here, even though it did win. I'm glad I did take it because this would have went against my rules, the red flags. This would have been considered another FOMO trade. And if I would have lost a trade, that would be another FOMO for me to add to my FOMO book that I've been taking for this whole month. So it's all good, guys. This week, unfortunately, so we had one trade and one loss. So we're currently, this is a red week for us. We're only down a little bit, not a lot, but I'll post up the results later. So we had one win. Let me go to the Discord real quick. So we had a win yesterday. So, and this is going to be my P&L for the week, of course, because I'm ending the week with slight loss right here. Not a big loss, but slight loss right there because right here we won this trade for 10 points, and then we lost this trade on the 21st for 20 points. So I'm only one trade away from bringing that back into the green. The only problem here, unfortunately, is that we got caught in this trade here, and we caught this trade here. But you guys can see the momentum divergence entries are like what we're focusing on right now. That's kind of what's working here in the moment. Another thing that I'll look at are probably going to be those, what we would call the pivot V2s, I guess. So I think the pivot V2s are probably going to be another thing that we'll look at. I'm going to incorporate the momentum, and I'm going to incorporate the trend as well. So we'll use that to maybe look for some opportunities here as we continue on with this trading year. So, all right, guys, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have